Turning up the heat now on energy, the legislative effort to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and maybe raise some much-needed money for the federal government is now underway. New legislation would for the first time use cap and trade to put a price on pollution, limiting how much pollution can be emitted and allowing companies to buy or sell the ability to pollute. Craig Sieben watches all those things happening in energy with Sieben Energy Associates. A lot to still be worked out with this bill from Congressman Waxman and Senator Markey of Massachusetts. A lot of unknowns in this still, right?
There are a lot of unknowns, but there's a lot that is known. They're proposing a fairly aggressive approach to reducing greenhouse gas emissions and also ramping up efficiency performance standards, looking at a renewable energy standard for the country, and lots of improvements in the building stock, which of course is the single biggest area that we can get reductions of CO2 emissions.
The central theme here, though, has got to be the cap and trade. President Obama has endorsed this idea. Lots of questions about, do you give away the ability to pollute, or do you have the market put a price on it and let the companies trade? What could be the result in the short term of cap and trade on consumer prices?
Well, consumer prices rates most likely will go up. The question is, how much and where. If you're in states that have a lot of coal burning utilities, chances are, and if we do it on a state by state versus on a country basis, these are the kind of questions that we'll be evaluating. Now, I think the allocation of credits, whether the companies, the industry would like the allocation to be free. President Obama has said he'd like to auction them. Maybe it's somewhere in the middle. The challenge in Europe, when they basically over-allocated, it meant that there was price destruction to the tune of 90%.
There was too much of the ability to pollute. Right.
So you've got to make sure that you get it right. And I think that the debate, we're going to be debating this over the course of the next 6 months, maybe longer. So we've got some time to get the rules right, to have some healthy debate. Not unlike the TARP legislation, which some people think went through too fast.
Yeah, sure.
Having some time to really fully understand the ramifications of this could be quite valuable.
That said, the economy's still in recession, likely still going to be awfully slow at the end of this year. How may that impact this kind of effort to really put a price on pollution?
Well, it might impact it a little bit. However, many people believe that the science on climate change is pretty serious, and the president has committed himself to making energy one of his top issues. Without putting a price on pollution, you really are not going to get us towards driving down our CO2 reduction levels. It may be, we may back off a little bit in terms of doing it immediately, but most people think you've got to have some kind of price on pollution in order to reduce, or price on energy. And then the question, if the money is being collected, where does the money go?
Where do those dollars go?
Does it get used to invest either in healthcare or education or back into consumers' pockets? So I think that's going to be part of the discussion.
Let me stretch this outside of the United States, because certainly we know pollution crosses international boundaries pretty easily. Right. What about the impact on international trade? If we're talking about cap and trade here in the U.S., so much West Coast pollution can be blamed on those factories in South China.
Well, that's correct. And if we don't have kind of a national and international agreement, which is the Copenhagen discussions on climate change later in this year in December, well, if U.S. companies are at a disadvantage, because international companies don't have to work to the same environmental standards, it may require that the U.S. puts tariffs on the imports, effectively a carbon tariff. Now, China has already come out saying they don't like that.
That's a shot across the bow for international trade.
But by the same token, we've outsourced the manufacture of TVs, of many things, to other countries.
Sure.
So, we have to account for the price of the emissions of those somewhere, or else it's unaccounted for, and it's an unfair advantage for companies outside the United States.
It's going to be a fascinating debate, watching utility stocks, watching energy prices, certainly. Craig Sieben along with us, running Sieben Energy Associates.
Thanks, Tom. Good to be with you.